Hey guys, so today I was inspired to do a little video on something that is very close to my heart, and that is building a business that serves your life, not a life that serves your business. Now, this video is for somebody who maybe feels a little bit stuck or trapped or doesn't have any options. They're kind of stuck in the rat race, in the matrix, as one may say, of just going to work, coming home, not really feeling like they have a choice in their own lives. And who it is for the person who actually wants to step out of that. So I've been doing a lot of reflecting as of late when it comes to building a business. And, for us, that's what we're essentially doing. And a core philosophy of mine that goes side by side with building a business that serves your life, not a life that serves your business, is that your business is your life and your life is your business. So I fundamentally actually don't agree with the fact that anybody is an employee. I think it's your responsibility to look after your own life and mind your own business, because if your business is your life and your life is your business, it's up to you to look after it, right? That's your responsibility. But I really want this to be raw and uncut. I'm not going to edit this video whatsoever. I've just got a couple of different bullet points that I've written down in front of me that I took at the cafe this morning just over some thoughts. And over the last couple of days, I've really just been asking myself, is it working? Is it working? Is the life that I've created for myself working the way that I have wanted it to work? And is it working for where I want it to go and for how I want my life to be, right? And something that I'm super proud of in my business journey so far and in our business journey so far, myself and Lee, my business partner, is that we haven't been pulled too much by the shiny objects syndrome, of all the different tactics and all the different strategies that are out there. And it must be this funnel and it must be this sales thing. But what game are we playing? Are we playing a short-term game or are we playing a long-term game? And the old way of kind of thinking, in the past has been very limited, and ironically, our business is called Unlimited because we want to create a life where we're free to kind of create and be ourselves. And that's all kind of built on the back of some key fundamental principles, such as, personal brand and content. And this very platform that I'm able to share this with you on right now is fundamental in creating a life of true freedom. So I'm very proud of the fact that we haven't been pulled around and dragged around by the trends. My belief is that you are the trend, and nobody really wants a business. Being in business now for the last kind of 8-9 years, or to go back to my theory, being in business my whole life since I left school, has taught me one fundamental thing, is that nobody really wants a business. And a coach that I follow quite closely, he lives over here in Bali as well, his name is James Kemp. He said this on many of the podcasts that I listened to him on, is that nobody really wants a business. What they really want is cash flow that supports their lifestyle. So how can we set up our life in the way that we want to live it and reverse engineer a model, so a business model, that fits into that bracket, right? So one thing that we've worked really hard to get is our time back. And I'm very protective over that, because it's easy to chase the 50K a month, 60K a month, 100K a month, $1 million a year. But it's all well and good doing that once. But can you then do that forever? And again, what game are we playing? Are we playing the now game, or are we playing the forever game? And I liken it to the analogy of, the gym. You don't just go to the gym and start lifting hundreds of kilos. You know, you slowly but incrementally build up to that. And upon each new level of strength, you adjust to that level of altitude. And I think business is much the same. You know, I want to get to $1 million a year and then be able to hold that for a very long time in a very sustainable way that has longevity, versus just chasing what I think is great for now, just so I can get some validation from the other kind of business bros, and tell them about how much money I'm making when I'm chatting to people in the sauna here in Bali, right? It's not really about that. So recently I started listening to a book called 10x is easier than 2x. And in the opening chapter, a story is told about Michelangelo, the artist Michelangelo, and how he was insanely obsessed with like the process of craftsmanship when it came to his art. And one of his most famous pieces is the Statue of David. And the theory with the Statue of David, I kind of likened it and connected it to hair, is that when Michelangelo was asked how he did it, Siri thinks I'm speaking to Siri, but I'm not. But when he was asked, how did you do it? How did you create the Statue of David? He said, it's simple. I just removed everything that wasn't David. And business can be a bit like that too. But a lot of the time people get it the wrong way around, right? They start running after what they think is success. More money, more status, more fame, more. But really less is more. And if we can just get really, really clear on why we do what we do, our values, and we know where we're going with everything and the type of life that we want to live on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, and we just remove everything that isn't that, and we find a way to monetize who we are, the things that we believe in, and we can help other people to do the same. That to me is like the ultimate business model of freedom, true freedom, freedom to create. And that's what we fundamentally stand for in Unlimited, because anything else is ironically a limit, right? So purpose, the reason why you do what you do, your values, your standards, your guiding principles, the things that you stand for and also stand against. Knowing what you don't want is equally as important as knowing what you do want, before just running and chasing after what you think you should do versus what you actually want. So yesterday I wrote down a question for myself, and I said, what parts of the business do I not like? And then I deepened that thought and I just thought, well, why am I doing them if I don't like them? Some of these things are necessary. Like if I want a six-pack, it means I have to do sit-ups or crunches or ab exercises, right? Is the thing that's on the other side something that I actually truly, in my heart of hearts, want? And that's something that we really, really need to get clear on before we start just aimlessly chasing after things. Because we're in a world right now where you'll open your phone, I'll open my phone on a daily basis, and there's a new strategy, there's a new tactic, there's a new way of approaching business, there's a new way of approaching brand and personal brand and content, and everybody seems to have the right thing. But really, when we really break it down to its core and its essence, every single person's right thing is different. And if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, you're not clear on the purpose and what it's all for in the end, it's kind of pointless. And I've created a fantastic life for myself through my skill, got really good at cutting hair, was teaching people to do it, and now I get to help people walk the journey that I've walked. And I was just having days recently where I wasn't even getting to enjoy like the fruits of my own labor based on comparison, based on silly things, you know, because I was consuming too much on the internet and listening to too many people doing X amount per month or X amount per year in their business. When really, I know I'll get there. I know I'll get to the numbers that I want to get to, but at what cost? And a lot of people are building a business that only makes them money, but costs them everything else. And that's an awful shame, you know? It's an awful shame. And I don't want that to be the case for me, and I don't want that to be the case for any of our clients, and I don't want that to be the case for you who's watching this. And there's not many people out there these days who are spreading a message like that, because it's against what we've been conditioned to believe is right, you know, chasing the money, chasing the status. So those are just some thoughts. And this morning we had a team meeting, you know, and we're working on projects, and we have ideas, and we have goals. And, you know, I just said to the guys, what if we just focus on one thing, which is revealing our personal brand and doubling down on content and just helping people inside of our program to live a fantastic life, to live an unlimited life. And we just stop with all of the different tactics, like the paid workshops and running different events and tactics, strategies. Really, you are the strategy. I am the strategy. And it's amazing when you give yourself a little bit of space, just some time to like think what you can create from that place and what comes to the surface is truly magical. And it's very easy, you know, when you start going into the online space and pursuing a life that you've dreamed of, to fall right back into a pattern, the same pattern that you were avoiding in the first place, or that I was avoiding in the first place. So yeah, I don't really know where else this is going. But, you know, the main point that I really wanted to bring up here is, like, there's a difference between obligation and inspiration. You know, if you've got a business and a life that feels like an obligation versus something that you wake up every day and you're inspired to do, you're in spirit, you're in service, you're enjoying it. Because really, it's actually not about like the place that you get to. It's not about the $1 million a year. It's about who you become in the process of getting there. And when you get there, can you hold it? Because we say this to the clients that we have inside of our mentorship program all of the time. If you do it well and you do it right, I'm going to use the word right. I don't love the right and wrong thing, but I'm going to use it in this case. If you do it right, meaning you do it in the way that serves your life, you only have to do it once. And then you just keep repeating, you know, and living and getting paid for being you. It's a beautiful thing. And, you know, I hope more entrepreneurs and business owners can see this, because I think the hardest part about business, from my experience so far, is thinking that I have to do it in a certain way, a particular way, a way that isn't me. There's a lot of shoulds and not a lot of critical thinking. And the power of the internet these days and content and personal brand, every single day we have a choice to almost like reinvent ourselves. And I want a business that supports my life, not a life that I spend supporting my business. And I wish that for you as well. And I wish that I knew this sooner. So I'm going to get back to the drawing board, and I'm going to have a look at our model, and I'm going to have a look at the life that I want to live. And if they're not in synchronicity with one another, then we maybe need to have a little look at some things. But I hope that you got some value out of that, just some raw, uncut thoughts. I'm not sure if this will make sense for you. I haven't even really fully figured it out myself, but I'm here sharing it, being vulnerable, expressing, and yeah, keep on creating. That's all I would really say to wrap this up. So if you enjoyed this, I'm going to be sharing many, many more videos with business insights and a peek under the hood of, you know, what's going on in the building of an unlimited life. And there's actually a quote that I'd like to leave you on, one that I haven't said in a while, and one that I haven't heard many other people say, particularly in 2025 when it comes to the online business space. But there is addition in subtraction. Remember that. See you on the next one.